You are comfortably zoned with the Zigzag Man in Alameda, California, pushing on the doors of life marked pull and fighting the unholy trinity as we go. Big business, organized religion, and government. I am back, and you are comfortably zoned from Alameda, California, and that's Northern California. I'm joined today by two guys from Northern California living in Southern California, and they're old Holy City Zoo buddies from way back, and it's a privilege to have them on. Probably the most successful comedy duo out of the Bay Area. I mean, it started Lank and Earl, Barry and Jim Earl, Barry Lank. How are you guys?
God, man, we're the most successful ever. We're the most
successful duo to come out of. Listen. I'm not blowing smoke. You guys kept it together. It is depressing on some level, but you guys. Hey, how about this for depression? Jim Earl, published author.
Yes.
Didn't just do it himself. Name of the book about funerals and dying. Jim?
Yes. Well, yes, it's a book of funny obituaries that I wrote.
Funny obituaries, which could be an oxymoron, but not really. And we'll get to recent obituaries in a little bit. And an Emmy-winning writer on Jon Stewart's show.
It was the Daily Show. It was not Jon Stewart when Jim was writing for it, actually.
Oh,
it was,
okay. Well,
most of the time it was when Jim was there. First 2 years it was the Daily Show with Craig Kilborn, and then I was under Jon Stewart, Daily Show with Jon Stewart for 2 years.
Ah, okay. So,
but wait, can I just say this? Barry's from Diamond Bar. He's not from Northern California.
Didn't you guys go to high school together?
Yeah, we went to high school together in Claremont, California. Actually, also in California. Jim, weren't you born in Stockton or something?
No,
I
was
born in
Pomona.
Claremont, Pomona. Pomona? Pomona, Claremont. All right. Now, we're both actually living then, I'm living maybe 30 miles from where I was born at this point. After all my travel. Yeah.
Now, here's my hook to this.
Diamond Bar.
Well, here's my hook to this. Jim, I don't think you've ever lived in New York. Am I correct?
Yes, he has. I spent almost 10 years there.
Oh, okay.
10, I think.
So,
and I also lived there.
You've lived in both Southern California, Northern California, and New York. I've only lived in Northern. Go ahead.
What's that? I've also lived in Philadelphia. Anyway, so throw that in, sure. And you've lived always in Northern California?
Northern California, and I grew up in New York, so I have no experience with Southern California. What is the one thing, other than the weather, that I might be missing, and what's the one thing that, because I live on a little island right off Oakland where the weather is beautiful in Northern California right now, what would I be missing about Northern California if I moved to Southern California right now?
You first, Barry. Let's see what you would miss. What you are missing by not being in Southern California. Well, you're missing our 100-degree weather right about now. This weekend's okay, but recently it's been oppressive. You miss. I have a job down in Irvine right now, so you would miss you'd miss my commute, which is just wall-to-wall cars coming back. So you got take about 2 hours to go 30 miles.
Okay.
So you missed that. You missed that.
That's that question. It won't be me in Southern California.
We have more. You know what? We have more swimmable beaches. I will say this: you really can't swim in the San Francisco beaches, and you can in Southern California.
Okay.
So I know how athletic you are, Ralph, and how much you need to surf, and we have that going on.
I have my moments of athleticism. I hit tennis balls against the wall, and I walk a lot. And at my age, just standing up is an athletic feat. I'm an old guy. I was old back then when I knew you guys. Tell me about, because I have a little theme, a sub-theme to my show of talking to people who had Holy City Zoo experience back in the 80s. I've had a myriad of folks on. What was your first time you guys ever, were you together? Did you go up separately? Did you go up together? And what was that like the first time at the Holy City Zoo for you guys, who became pretty much regulars? You closed at the place for the last 10 years. You had every weekend. So what was it like just being a novice?
Before we became the most successful comedy team from Northern California.
The most successful comedy team out of San Francisco. Who else can you name? Seriously.
Didn't the Smothers Brothers start out of San Francisco?
I sit corrected.
I'll look that up while we're doing this. But Jim, what was it? While I'm doing this, Jim, what was it like for us to be novices?
They were way up there someplace. They didn't start in San Francisco. They didn't start at the Holy City Zoo. They did have.
They certainly didn't start at the Holy City Zoo.
No, they didn't. But they did have Purple Onion success in those days. So I readily stand corrected. But very serious.
Made their first professional appearance as a duo in February 1959 at the Purple Onion. So we stand in the shadow of the Smothers Brothers.
All right, you do indeed. But you know what? That's one hell of a shadow and one hell of a comparison. And there's been a lot of people come out of San Francisco together and blah blah blah. You guys had
just like Dickie Smothers, Barry's son got into producing porn films.
Did Dick Smothers make porn? Did Dick Smothers make porn?
Dickie and his yo-yo. He's come to that. God help him. But when I was growing up in the late 50s, early 60s, they sung good folk music on one side of an album, and they did their shtick on the other side. And
they're good musicians.
Yeah, they were definitely talented human beings and way ahead of their time. I mean, they blazed a lot of trails on that summer replacement show that they did for like 5 years, and started a lot of folks along the way. I think David Letterman might have come out of that show, maybe not, but
they were great.
Yeah, they really were.
Yeah. And, as for our art,
first time.
Well, I was doing comedy for a couple of years on my own while Jim was finishing up school, and so my first memories of the zoo were it was dark and nobody made a sound when I went up. I can't remember. When was the first time we went up at the zoo? Jim, do you have any clear recollection of that set? I
thought it was 85, and I think the first time we ever went up in San Francisco though was maybe Cobb's in the but either Cobb's
in the marina
or the zoo. I remember the first time we ever got paid, and that was we left and did a set at the zoo, and then we started leaving at the end of the night, and Becky comes running out with $4. That was our first professional gig.
Yeah, you still owe me the $2 for that, right?
What?
$2. You owe me money. Oh,
What
scared
the
me for
hell
a
is
second.
that?
No, you said owe me. You still owe me money. I thought you were talking to me, and automatically the music came on to.
No, it's Jim. Jim still owes me $2 from 1986.
Ah, thank God, because you're more likely to get it from him than you would be from me, for crying out loud. I'm an old retired man. But
well, that's very fortunate, Barry, that I still owe you that $2, because now with accrued interest, that's over $30,000 that I owe you.
All right. Pay the man. Pay the man. You take a check, right?
No, not from Jim.
All right.
No.
All right, the good sense. So you got up the first time, and like you say, it was dark, and it was a late put up. Was it late at night, or how did that work?
I can't remember what time it was. It wasn't crazy late. If I remember correctly, when you signed up, Becky's policy tended to be that the first time you signed up, you didn't get a horrible slot. This is a long time ago, so maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but you'd get an okay slot, and then the next time you signed up, you'd be relegated to the late night. But just your first time, she'd make it as nice for you as she could.
Yeah, Becky's terrific. How well did you guys know Robin? I mean, he popped in and out of there all the time. He's obviously a fixture.
I knew him. I didn't know him. I wasn't close to him. He knew everybody, and he was friendly to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't have any particular. I guess I really can't quantify it any better than that. It's funny, after he died, the internet was flooded with these people saying, that one time I met Robin, and all the stories were kind of, he was a nice guy, which is true.
Yeah.
I wasn't close, that's all.
All right.
Jim may have talked to him one or two more times than I did.
Yeah, I talked, a couple of times outside the zoo. He'd come up. He offered us money one time because we were whining about finances. And
how much?
Second
I recall the line was,
time,
"How much money do you need?"
Yeah, oh my God. We didn't take it, of course. And
no, we didn't need it that bad.
Yeah, but but it turns out that a lot of people have the same kind of story, of him offering them or lending them money or giving money when they needed it.
Yeah.
I wish we'd taken it.
At that point, I don't know how much you had in mind, but he'll be missed. I made a statement on the Holy City Zoo page right after it, expressing my feelings about it, that what he did might have been selfish. I had an overwhelming negative reaction from that, but about two or three days later, I Googled something that was written about, is suicide selfish? And I think it's something on the Yahoo does these polls. 40% of the 40% of the people believe, yes, it is a selfish act. It doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't be entitled to do it, but it can be a selfish act on a lot of levels. So, but my God, the response I got, it's like I could have run Hitler for president with that. And all I meant is that, there's some consequences to taking what appears to be the easy way out. That
it's hard to. I mean, it depends on the circumstances of an individual suicide. Some people commit suicide because of they don't want to be a burden on their families. There's a lot of reasons. What was going through Robin's mind, I don't know. Again, I didn't know him particularly well, but I think nobody really knows what's going through a person's mind when they do that, unless you're very close to the person.
But I guess I just wanted to say I meant no harm when I said it. I was just thinking how his kids are going to grow up. Hemingway's came to mind. the craziness that's passed on from generation to generation, all this stuff. And I was insensitive in the sense that I didn't take into consideration that people have a genuine depression and a chemical imbalance, and I didn't even think about it in those terms. And I wish he would have had someone that was closer to him, certainly than me, that he could have called up and said, it's going to be tough for me, and that kind of thing.
It can't ever be an easy way out for someone who chooses to take their own life. I mean, that's just,
And
there's no way. No,
I know
no
it's not easy. It's not.
There's no way. There's no way of knowing what's going on in a person's mind when they do that and how they feel. And to me, that's just their business. And
absolutely.
Well, the other thing too. The other thing too is one of the stories I keep hearing from that camp. A lot of people were very close to him. I mean, he had a lot of friends, and we're hearing a lot of stories. Our friend Johnny Steele, for instance, was told some story afterwards that he regularly rode bikes with Robin, and recently said, this guy doesn't sound like himself anymore. And he talked to some other people who were close to Robin, and they're saying, yes, we know, we don't know we don't know what to do. So there were some people who were close. It's a lot of times there is just no easy answer, and I don't know what happened, and it sounds like even the people closest to him had very little control over, very little say over what was going on.
Yeah. May he rest.
I second that.
Okay. So, guys, thank you for being here. What you got going? What do you want to talk about in terms?
Wait a minute, you're gonna leave on that happy note, okay?
I'm not going to leave.
You know what? He's gonna edit this. He's editing out this whole part. This whole section's gone.
I don't. If you think I have the skill to edit this, what I do is download it from the conference calling, and I upload it to the.
Oh, this is going to sound so awkward with time delays and everything.
This is such a nice conversation. Tell me what you guys have coming up so that you might be helped by this in some way, or are you doing anything together, or are you doing something separately that you might want to tell the world about through Comfortably Zoned Radio of the podcast variety.
We're holding hands.
You first, man.
Well, we've been recording sketches for the Final Edition Radio Hour. It's a Tony Hendricks project, so that runs every week. So it's another podcast.
Okay.
Short on podcast, and Jim does a very funny thing with our friend Steve Rosenfield called 30 Minutes
Steve,
of Crap.
It's unbelievable. Steve, I'll tell you the funniest line I remembered from 30 years ago. Steve Rosenfeld's line. He's a comedian. He doesn't work, right? So he went to take an aptitude test. What is he suited for? The only thing he said he was suited for in the aptitude test is standing around making sarcastic remarks while other people work.
While other people do all the heavy lifting. I think
right. Yes, just standing alone making fun of it. Steve is brilliant. Another writer.
And I believe that line was from the 1990s too. I think that was even. He's still that's still in his that's still his job skill.
It should be. It's a great line. Many times I've wanted to use it, but I couldn't find a way of stealing, and I didn't want to say, "Well, I absorb things."
That's nice to know.
That
you absorb things like toxins.
Right. It would be, and that's another thing that that comics like to write and be able to keep their stuff. Have you had experiences where all of a sudden you're hearing your stuff somewhere else?
Jim, this one's you.
Yes. Well, I had a sketch stolen from me and used on a syndicated comedy show. A number of
would
years
it be
ago.
Would it be cathartic to say who the asshole was?
I probably shouldn't. It's just been a long time.
It's old news. It's from
that
was from them 20 years ago or something.
Yeah. The nice thing is, here's the tip: you copyright everything you own.
Right.
That's if you ever want, because someday you may see something or hear something that you wrote on TV and say that's mine, but you can't do anything about it unless it's copyrighted. Okay, that's my big funny tip.
Do you guys write by design, or do you write down funny things that you hear and that you think might be a bit, or do you sit down and write by design at a set period of time? How does your discipline work?
For me, I wake up in the morning and I circle every fourth letter in the Holy Bible. And then I put together words and phrases and sentences and bits according to that technique.
Well, if you can get some good shit out of the Holy Bible, right? I think that
it always ends up being some angry screed about the Hollywood Hills.
Would you, if you had it, not if you had it to do all over again, in a different part of your life, maybe in the future, would you live up in Northern California again, guys?
Yeah, I would like. Well, we were just there for Comedy Day, and when I got up there, it was like, oh God, I forgot how much I like this. The weather's nicer, and I just, felt generally great. But every time I go to San Francisco, after about 2-3 days, there really isn't that much for me to do anymore. So I need to have things. I need to have a project or something that I'm really busy doing.
Okay.
Yeah. If I could go back in time, knowing everything I do now, I'd probably wait until after high school to marry my sister.
Well, yeah.
Did I ask that question?
You had no control of that. You had your uncle with the shotgun and stuff like that. So you do the best you can, and you just live with the results. Don't feel bad about that. I think you held up pretty well. And
hey, thanks.
Yeah.
How is your sister doing?
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Still mention me?
It's been a pleasure. The reason I'm cutting you off is because I got a strict email from one of you today. I won't even say which
that would be me about not burning too many of my minutes.
Right. Now, how many have I burned so far? I don't even look down, but I'm guessing it's about 35 minutes.
No, 24. We started at 4:20. I'm seeing 4:45 here.
4:45.
We're fine.
Yeah. Okay, so how about a little prayer for the country we live in? A lot of my show is I come up against what I call the Un-Holy Trinity of big business, organized religion, and government, and how they just suck us dry on every level. I'm wondering if either of you or both of you would like to talk about what you consider to be the worst of our times today, be it separation of church and state or Roe v. Wade being repealed. What's going on that's so repulsive to you guys right now?
Barry?
Well, Starbucks sells bananas for $1, and they're way less than that.
They are.
And that's just
crazy. You could buy 2 for $1 at 7-Eleven.
Oh, that's the place down the block. I bought it for a little Spanish grocery store. I bought it for 35. Two for 35 cents. 2 for 35.
And that's what bothers you. It doesn't bother you that these are people that came to this country to sell you bananas and for no other reason, and that they may not be legal. That doesn't bother you.
Ralph, when did my people came to America? Well, my people came to America when my parents came to America from Canada.
Right.
When did your people come to America? Everybody's people came to America from somewhere.
Mine, two sets of ancestors. My father's side came right before the war to escape the war.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And my mother's side, the grandparents came after the pogroms in 1910, something around that area. I think 1909. And folks that came here first came with virtually nothing, and the ones that came last, my father, they came with diamonds in the soles of their shoes. They were escaping the war. They had the means to do so, and they came already middle-class people. So I get both sides.
So here you are with virtually nothing. You inherit.
And here I am, living in an RV.
Take up the virtually nothing side.
Right. Well, isn't it nice that I was able to pick that up? Because this way I have nothing to leave. If you love me for me, not for my money. That's how I look at it. How about you, Jim? How about your side of how'd you get here?
I'll
be on the Mayflower. I'm guessing the Mayflower.
The 1640s from England. And then on the other side, the 1840s from Germany. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where. Yeah.
And they came here and did jobs.
They escaped. They were escaping the wars too. The Spanish-American War.
Everybody is escaping something. So what's the worst thing going on right now that you guys can fetch about, or just add your 2 cents?
Right now, it's I just ran out of flaxseed milk.
Okay. So now you have shopping experiences, small shopping experiences, where you don't schlep too much. You just go out, you buy a few things, and you come back. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta get in the car. Yeah, I gotta get in the car and go buy some more flaxseed milk. And
we won't be fighting the Unholy Trinity, but fuck it. Hey, we'll do other things.
I agree with that.
Did you guys have fun? Did you guys have fun in any way?
I had a blast. This is enlightening, exciting. It's great to be talking to Barry Lank again.
All right.
As well as you, Ralph.
When you talk to Steve Rosenfeld, give him my best. Tell him to stay in touch, and tell him I'm still laughing about that joke all these years later.
I will, and see you in court. Man, the time.
You know how long you've been doing that joke?
I don't know.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You're comfortably zoned. I'm going to end the segment the way I do every segment. I implore you guys and everybody to keep your humor dry, keep your dreams wet, keep your kids out of military recruiting stations. It's very important that your kid will come back or not in a different way. And there's a lot of wars going on. You don't want your kid being fodder. And also keep your kid off the laps of clerics wearing dresses at all times. That's just the way it should be. To be on the safe side, there's been a lot of stuff in the newspaper. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if 10,000 apples spoil the whole bunch or not. But to be on the safe side, do that. And please, gentlemen and ODI, keep on keeping on. Thanks for being on, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you later, Ralph. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Ralph.